ورسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول كل بدعة ضلالة.
That we don't wait for things to be destroyed and our families to be lost before we act. We don't take affairs right to the brink of destruction and then decide, I think I should do something now. Because by that time you have lost your children. And maybe you have lost the respect of your parents, or your parents have died. Like a person who waits right up until the deathbed of his father or his mother and then decides, I will do something for them now. Or that a person himself is upon his deathbed and he says about his wealth, this is for fulan and this is for fulan. And as the Prophet ﷺ, he said that it is already for them, meaning that you're dead, you're dying anyway, as the Prophet ﷺ said. So your wealth is already not yours. A person should not leave affairs too late. Allow our children to grow up without Tawheed, without Sunnah, without learning how to pray, without learning the categories of Tawheed, Tawheed al-Ibadah, Tawheed al-Rububiyyah, Tawheed al-Asma'i wa-Sifat, without learning those tenets of our doctrine, the doctrine or the Aqeedah of Ahlul Sunnati wal Jama'ah, the belief of Ahlul Sunnah. And then when they're 18, we decide, let's teach them Aqidatul Wasatiyah. No, they're not interested. They're interested in what is on the phone and what is happening on social media. By that time, it's too late. They're interested in what's happening on the street and when the next movie is going to be released. And you're trying to teach them Wasatiyah and Kitab al-Tawheed because now you think it's about time that I taught them. The time to teach them was when they were 7 and 8 and 9 and 10, up until they were 14 when they become men, or women become women, round about the age somewhere between 12 and 15. That is the time when we truly take hold of responsibility. It is between the ages of 7 and 14 that you discipline your children and you teach them respect and you teach them honor. You teach them not to answer you back. And you teach them the affairs of responsibility, how to host the guests, how to treat their grandparents, your mother and father. Your own mother and father, how do your children treat them? How do they care for them? How do they care for the needy? How do they look after the neighbor? How do they give in charity? Do they give some of their pocket money in charity? And when they are 18 and they are trying to get away from you because they're so enticed by the affairs of the dunya, is that when you look towards your children and say, well, it's about time I did something, and then you run around trying to fix them? They don't want to be fixed at that age unless Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guides them. Because the time to build them and to nurture them and to establish their religion, to establish their aqeedah, to establish their salah, to establish the knowledge of the sharia is at an early age. So by the time they reach adulthood, that knowledge and that theoretical knowledge of the sharia they already know. By the ages of 15, 16, 17, they see the affairs, that which you taught them, they see its reality around them. The signs of the hour, they begin to understand, because now when they enter into puberty and adulthood, they know how to take the responsibility. Now that they're adults, they understand that my father taught me the signs of the hour and I'm seeing some of the minor signs of the hour. Knowledge will be lifted. Jahl will become widespread. Wine will be drunk. And zina will become the norm, a habit amongst the people, fornication. If we do not teach our children, the Prophet ﷺ mentioned this, by the way, from the Ashratul Sa'ah, from the signs of the hour. We don't teach our children the questions in the grave. Man Rabbuk, Ma Dinuk, Man Nabiyuk. Who was this man that was sent amongst you? We don't teach them Salatul Usul, the 3 fundamental principles that Shaykhul Islam Muhammad bin Abdul-Wāhid penned down in simplified form, explained by many, many scholars. From them Ibn Uthaymeen, from them Shaykh bin Baz, from them Shaykh Ubaid al-Jabri and others. Our children don't even know the names of these scholars or the names of these books. They know more football teams than they know names of the Sahaba. Imagine that. Muslim children in a Muslim home, mother and father are praying, and their children know the football teams in the Premier League and then in the first division or second division or whatever. They know more names of more movies and film stars than they do of the wives of the Prophet ﷺ and the Sahabiyat. Ask them to name the 6 books, the 6 famous books of Hadith. Then ask them about the names of the 6 famous football players in Britain. This is the level that we've reached. That our children are more aware of those affairs that actually will destroy them and annihilate them for generations to come. And they don't know the arkan of Iman. Ask them, what are the arkan of Iman? What are the pillars of Iman? What are the pillars of the Salah even? What are the arkan of the Salah? The prayer has pillars, what are they? What are the conditions of the prayer? And they don't know. What are the wajibat of the Salah? They don't know. What do you do if you make a mistake in the prayer? They don't know. Then we cry ourselves, we weep over our children. Because we didn't cultivate them. And we didn't nurture them. And we didn't work upon them. Because we ourselves, we didn't care. Because we were living our lives. That's why the affair of responsibility. And likewise the mother. What is your duty, my sister? What is your duty as a wife to your husband? What is your duty as a mother of the house? What is your duty as a guardian over the house of your husband, the household and the family of your husband? How are you nurturing? Are you on the phone all day long? What's happening on Facebook? What's happening on YouTube? What's happening on Twitter? Whilst your children are running feral in the house? Unnurtured, uncultured? Don't know how to speak to people, don't know how to speak with respectful words, don't know how to cook, don't know how to clean. Why? Because you've got a maid, because you've got a worker, because you've got some sort of servant in the house. My daughter doesn't have to cook, my son doesn't have to do anything. He doesn't have to take out the rubbish, he doesn't have to clean his room, because he's my delicate son. I'll get someone to clean it for him. I will get someone to wipe the floor. I will get someone to do the shopping. How are we raising our children? Rijal, these are Rijal. These are men of the future who are going to raise the banner of Islam and protect this religion against corruption. We have to open our eyes, especially our younger brothers whose families are beginning. Love your children, love them from the depths of your heart, but don't allow them to divert you from the dhikr of Allah. Love them, nurture them, let them play from the time they're born up until the age of 7. Let them play, let them enjoy at the age of 7, like the Prophet ﷺ said, command them with the salah. Command your 7-year-old with the prayer. So what are you going to do, just come and pray next to me? No. Now you have to teach him how to make wudu, because he can't stand next to you unless he's in a state of wudu. It's when the Prophet ﷺ said, command your children with the salah at the age of 7. It means teach them the wudu, because without wudu there is no salah. Teach them Fatiha, because they need to know what to recite in the raka'ah. Teach them what they have to say before they go into ruku', the takbir, Allahu Akbar. Teach them what they've got to say in the ruku'. Teach them what they have to say when they come up out of ruku'. Teach them what to recite in the tashahhud and in between the sajdatayn. Did we do that to our children at the age of 7, or we waited till 18? Prophet ﷺ said, don't make the taslim up until you seek refuge in 4. Your son says, what for? What's the 4 things? Because we never taught them. And who cries in the end except for the mother and father? My children, they left me. They left me and they don't care about me. Or that if I die, they don't even know how to perform janazah over me. They won't know how to wash me or shroud me or make dua for me. These are the children. But mashallah, he's an engineer. Mashallah, he's a lawyer. Mashallah, he's rich. Because that's all we care about in our times. We care more about the secular education that will make them rich and prosperous, which is what parents want for their children, and they forget the akhirah. This mas'uliyah is immense. وَرَجُلُ فِي مَالِ أَبِيهِ. And the man is responsible concerning the wealth and the property of his father, because he has to be trustworthy. Which son is going to be trustworthy except the one that is raised with nobility and honor, with discipline? He doesn't even look his father in the eye because of the honor and the haiba that he has for his father. When he sits, he doesn't point his feet to his father. He doesn't eat up until his father has eaten first. He doesn't enter the home up until his father enters the home first. And the mother, min bab awla. And the mother, she has even a higher rank. Just as the Prophet ﷺ said to the man who asked him, Ya Rasulullah, who has more right to my good treatment? He said, Ummuk. In a narration, who has more right to my companionship? He said, Ummuk, your mother. He said, Thumma man? He said, Ummuk. He said, then who? He said, your mother. Then he said, then who? He said, your mother, 3 times. Then he said, your father. Then your father. Our children, how are they with their mothers? How are they with their fathers? We want to blame society, we want to blame everything, but we're bringing that mess into the house through social media and through, whatever else, movies and Netflix and music and YouTube. Son doesn't talk to his father, he's too busy on the phone laughing at whoever he's talking to on WhatsApp. Too busy for his mother, too busy for his father. By the time they realize how they've neglected their parents are on their deathbed. Their parents are on their deathbed. A man, Prophet ﷺ said, may his nose be rubbed in the dust. May his nose be rubbed in the dust. May his nose be rubbed in the dust. They said, Man ya Rasulullah? He said, the one who reached his parent when they were old age, either one of them or both of them, and as a result he does not enter into Jannah. Who is the one who is this? Meaning rope, when the nose is rubbed in the dust, when the Prophet ﷺ is mentioned those words, meaning that he is disgraced. Disgraced is the one whose parents reach old age, one of them or both of them, and due to the khidmah that he had the opportunity to give to them, the service and the looking after, he didn't do it, and because of that he does not enter into Jannah. How disgraceful is that? How disgraceful is it that we don't nurture our children, we don't nurture our wives, we don't nurture our families, we don't take this mas'uliyah seriously enough. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide us and guide the Muslims to good treatment and understand the real responsibility that they have, the burden that they carry for the generation that is to come and for generations that come in the future. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala rectify the affairs of the Muslims.